Welcome to the Reconnection Club podcast, the show that helps parents heal troubled relationships with their adult sons and daughters. I'm your host, psychotherapist Tina Gilbertson. Each week, I'll offer you compassion, clarity, and personal development tips designed to help you reconnect, not only with your child, but with yourself. Now let's get started. Most parents I work with have some regrets about their parenting from when their kids were younger. And I always feel like that's a very promising sign because it means that the parent is in touch with the reality that nobody parents perfectly. Being able to look back and wish you'd done certain things differently means that not only that you're growing and learning, but that you're strong enough and aware enough to notice areas for learning and growth. Without that ability to discern those growing edges, you're not really able to change even when change may be needed. It's hard to look unflinchingly and without judgment and with compassion at your younger self and see those things that you wish you'd done differently in parenting your child or children. But once you can do that, you're ready to do something with the good news that I have for you today, which is that if you have specific things you'd like to change about the past or your parenting, you can do that by starting fresh today with what I'm going to call reparenting. And when you hear me say that word, reparenting, you may think, well, it's too late for me to reparent my child. She doesn't live with me anymore. I can't even get her to return my texts. But the beautiful thing about reparenting is that you don't need your children to participate. They don't even have to be in the same time zone as you. Reparenting is something very powerful and very personal that starts with you and changes your relationship with your child from the inside out. So if your adult child won't let you try to reparent him today, you can go right ahead and start learning better how to understand and address your own emotional needs so that you can reparent yourself first. If you're not familiar with talking or thinking about your own emotional needs, you're not really in the best place to meet the needs of anyone else. To parent another person, you must at the very least know how to parent yourself. People who are lucky come out of childhood having been parented well enough, and so they know implicitly how to parent themselves. And they have this skill before they have to figure out how to parent someone else. For example, if you fell down and scraped a knee when you were a kid, and you went running to mom or dad, and they kissed you and held you and offered sympathy and a Band-Aid, then when you have kids of your own, you know exactly what to do if they fall down and get hurt. And of course, even before that, you're kind to yourself when you're in pain. But if, when you got hurt as a kid, mom or dad just got mad and told you to be more careful, then not only will you chastise yourself the next time you fall down and hurt yourself, but when you have children and you want to provide a compassionate, nurturing response as a parent, it won't come naturally. Even if you make a point of being nurturing in the way that you've seen other parents do, it won't come naturally because at some level you're thinking, my child should have been more careful. Because that's what you learned from your parents, and it still may feel true. And try as you might, you can't hide your real feelings from your children throughout their entire childhood. A big part of parenting is being aware of and attempting to address children's emotional needs. And after your child becomes an adult, that's really all that's left of parenting. You don't have to feed him or clothe him or teach him how to behave or sign permission slips for him to go anywhere. If you want to parent an adult child, the best parenting you can offer is an attempt to meet some of his emotional needs. The need for visibility, for example, to be seen and known and understood by someone who loves you. We all have that need. You can always do that for your child, no matter how old you both are. But only if you can do that for yourself. So if your child isn't available right now because of estrangement, this is the time to practice meeting your emotional needs so that your response becomes automatic. The best and easiest way to learn how to parent adults is to reparent yourself. You can't be a better parent to anyone than you are to yourself. I want to share some ideas with you today for reparenting yourself and, by extension, when the time comes, your child as well. Because if you are just waiting around anxiously for a chance at reconciliation, please forgive me for saying so, but you're wasting valuable time. Use this period of your life to make absolutely sure that you are the parent you want to be today and going forward by parenting yourself well. The first reparenting tip I have for you is to make sure you are respecting yourself. If you make faces when you look at yourself in the mirror as if you're disgusted with your appearance, that's disrespectful. So is putting yourself down in conversation with others. For example, if you say, "I'm such a loser when it comes to managing money," that's not a respectful way to talk about yourself. If you don't like your money habits, you might change them, but don't berate yourself for them. In general, try to treat yourself the way you'd treat an honored guest in your home. So that's my first tip for reparenting yourself. Good parents respect the human dignity of their children and treat them accordingly. So respect yourself as if you were your own child. Secondly, accept your emotions exactly as they are. Don't debate, judge, or argue with how you feel. Instead, just try to understand your feelings and the message that they might have for you. Listen to what they're trying to tell you. Now, that doesn't mean you have to act on your feelings. Feelings are separate from actions. Even if they do seem to go hand in hand, they don't have to. Behavior has consequences, but just feeling an emotion inside doesn't. So let yourself feel however you feel. And if you need some support while you practice that, please see my book, Constructive Wallowing: How to Beat Bad Feelings by Letting Yourself Have Them. In that book, I talk a lot about why all feelings are acceptable and why you cannot be judged for the way you feel, only the way you behave, including what you say to others. Again, the book is called Constructive Wallowing. Accepting your child's emotions as a parent is important for helping him develop emotional intelligence. Having others listen to, understand, and accept the way we feel helps us manage both our own and others' emotions more effectively. If you grew up in the U.S., it will take time and practice to make a habit of accepting your emotions. Each day, make it a point to listen to your heart, ask yourself what you're feeling, and try to just understand your feelings rather than judging them. I have a process for doing this that I outline in Constructive Wallowing, but to keep it simple, just focus on acceptance rather than judgment. Only if you can provide yourself with the wonderful gift of accepting all your feelings will you be comfortable with other people's emotions too, including those of your adult children. My final self-parenting tip is to become your own biggest fan, just like you wanted your parents to be when you were a child. Don't let any negative self-talk go unchallenged. If you make a mistake, resist the urge to make a blanket statement about your incompetence or being a hopeless case. Be a fan, not a critic. If someone else criticizes you, go ahead and consider the criticism as objectively as you can, and if some of it fits, be supportive of yourself by putting it into perspective. Yes, it's true, I do get grumpy when I'm hungry, but that doesn't make me evil or mean. By treating yourself with respect, accepting your emotions without judgment, and being a supportive fan rather than your own worst critic, you'll get a great start on reparenting yourself the way we all deserve to be parented. And once that reparenting is in place, you won't have to figure out how to reparent your adult child or children when they come back around. The good stuff they need will come naturally because you'll be parenting yourself daily in the same wonderful way. It might seem like you could parent your children differently than you parent yourself, but like anything else, how we do parenting is how we do parenting. By making sure that you're really good at parenting yourself first, you will naturally set the same tone in your relationship with your child or children. You'll automatically reparent them well from the inside out. Until next time, remember that you are a loving, lovable, and still growing human being. So please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Reconnection Club podcast, I invite you to check out reconnectionclub.com. The Reconnection Club is for parents at any stage of estrangement from their adult, child, or children. So whether you've just realized there's trouble between you, you've been living with estrangement for years, or you're newly reconciled but still walking on eggshells, the Reconnection Club is your essential resource for information, support, and continued personal growth. With our courses and workshops, expert interviews, monthly Q&A calls, and a friendly, active community, the Reconnection Club is a wonderful place to be for anyone suffering the pain of estrangement from an adult, child, or children. So check it out at reconnectionclub.com.